All right, everyone. The fact that Donald Trump has come out and declared Canada the 51st state and talked about Trudeau being the governor of Canada and stuff, that's quite clearly hyperbole, and it's related to tariffs. And the Canadian nationalists that are getting all bent out of shape about it, don't worry, the United States is probably not going to annex Canada. I would point out, though, that it seems to be a wildly popular idea. Americans generally seem to support it, Canadians generally seem to support it, and technically speaking, under U.S. law, yeah, your country could literally become the 51st state. There's one compounding factor, though. There's one problem. Canada is part of the Commonwealth under the British. That is, that it's only semi-sovereign. You've got a prime minister that's leading your country. That's Justin Trudeau, unfortunately. But technically you are still part of the British Commonwealth. Other hoops would have to be gone through before Canada could join the United States, feasibly and legally. Also, the United States is very close allies with the UK under that Commonwealth term, along with Australia and a few other countries. The Commonwealth mostly fell apart, but there are still some that are still there. If that were cleared out of the way, and Canada were to officially petition for annexation, you could actually become a U.S. territory. I don't think it'd become the 51st state, though. I'd say it's too large for that. It would have to be carved into pieces. You'd probably end up with about 4 states or something like that, all of which would vote for the Democratic Party, very oddly enough. It could happen, but the chances of it are very, very low. So to the Canadian nationalists, don't worry too much. To Justin Trudeau, you're going to be out of a job soon. He might resign any day now anyway. Your finance minister decided to abandon you and throw you under the bus. I wonder why that happened. Oh, it's the economy, stupid. Justin Trudeau is a flash in the pan, and it was part of that liberal bulwark, actually. From yesteryear. This has now been shoved aside pretty much by the populist movements in multiple countries. Canada, the US, Argentina, the UK, most of Europe, parts of Asia. It's coming, my friends. Trudeau is basically like the Canadian version of Obama. And they got along. They were basically besties. It was a little bit like Kamala Harris with Liz Cheney, which was even more hysterical. But he has fallen out of favor because he doesn't know what the hell he's doing. The fact that you have relative youth and look reasonable and are reasonably well-spoken doesn't translate well to policy. We've seen this before, many, many times. There are certain charismatic young individuals that are capable of leadership. For instance, look at JFK. But then for every JFK, you get a Justin Trudeau. I would say Canada should join the United States. If annexation were seriously proposed, let's say that the Canadian people, which apparently overwhelmingly support the idea, let's say that they hold a formal vote and they say we want to join the United States. And the US people are generally in support of the concept, even if it's one that's relatively flippant. Assuming that our Congress says, okay, that's a good idea, I would support annexation, because you're taking over a huge amount of territory with a huge amount of resources. There would be huge amounts of reciprocity between the two of them. You would create the world's largest energy juggernaut by far. The Russians would not be able to compete in any way, shape, and nobody would be able to compete with that energy juggernaut. That alone would justify it. You massively expand the land area of the resulting United States of America, and so on and so forth. You add a bunch of population, you secure one of your major borders, the larger one, by the way, less hazarded, but also larger. The Canadian people gain the protection of the U.S. Constitution, which I think needs to be expanded and reformed, but for what it's worth, it generally works well, as long as it's respected by the courts. And you get rid of the Commonwealth system, which is a good thing. It advances liberty. Will this happen? I don't even know. Under Donald Trump, nothing can be impossible, I suppose, at this point. I just don't think that it's likely. So the people of Canada probably have to continue to labor under the Commonwealth system. No offense to my Canadian clankers, but your system does not work as well, and I think most of you probably agree with me, as the system in the US. Now, our system has its own fucking problems. I think it needs considerable reform. That being said, the basic outlay of the system, I think, is superior. That's about all. Peace out.